Hello and welcome everyone to this new episode of Greatest Business Minds on our digital TV channel F15 by Forbes DACH. My name is Klaus. I'm the editor-in-chief of the German-speaking edition of Forbes, and in this format, on every Wednesday and Thursday at 5:30 p.m., I meet the CEOs and entrepreneurs, the founders and executives of the companies in the German-speaking region that are trying to change the future, influence the future, or think about what's coming next. Today's guests, for the first time in this format, we have two guests, Robert Machtlinger, who's the CEO of FACC, and Felix Lee, who's the overseas managing director of EHang. And both of them have started a moonshot project, so to say, flying taxis. As the layman would say, they would probably speak of autonomous aerial vehicles. Basically, what they're trying to do is build these flying objects that will not just transport goods in the future, but also people like you and me. I'm excited to hear how this Chinese company has come together with an upper Austrian industrial giant, so to say, and to see what they are working on to make this vision that has been around for ages a possibility. Mr. Machtlinger, Mr. Lee, thank you so much for joining us. Married couples are usually asked, how did you meet? So I would like to start with this question. How did FACC and EHang meet, and what is the intention behind this strategic partnership that you've started? Maybe Mr. Machtlinger, you could start.
Sure. First of all, Klaus, thank you for the opportunity having us today. Our pleasure, and always good to see you. And of course, also good to see you, Felix, over some distance. Well, good question, Klaus. How did we meet? I think it was not an accident, but nearly as an accident, because Felix was traveling in Europe, and he was trying to visit companies that would be a good fit to the EHang DNA. And when Felix and his team came to FACC first time, it was March of 2018. And once the two groups met, I think it was very obvious from the first minute that we talk the same language in terms of how we approach things, how do we react, how fast do we want to execute things, and how open-minded we are as companies to enter new fields of opportunities. And even FACC is a little bit larger than EHang today. We are coming out from I would say startup some 30 years ago. So FACC was starting the business in a very disruptive environment 30 years ago, and we tried to keep this kind of behavior, even being a larger company. And I think that was a quite good fit between the two of us. And then we decided to meet again in May, and again in August. The August meeting already was in Alpbach, when we had this global forum in Austria, where the Minister of Transportation also joined us. And then later on, I think in October or November, we again met in Guangzhou and we signed the partnership agreement. So it was a very fast learning and coming together. And it was a good fit from the first second, I would call it. Felix, how do you see?
What did you think? Did you look for an Austrian company specifically? Did you just look for a European partner? What was your intention going into this, and why did you choose to work with FACC?
Thank you for the invitation. And yes, in the last 5-6 years, I travel a lot in the whole outside of China, especially also I spend a lot of time to visit different European companies. In the beginning, I don't have any kind of specific intention, because from EHang side, we know exactly what we are good at, and also we know exactly what we need. So in my trip, in the first time I met with FACC, I think the most impressive things is the people, the whole staff from the employee from FACC. What kind of people they are? They are so friendly and open-minded, and also reliable. Because in the so many meetings what we have, that I think for all kinds of partnership, all kinds of work together. We need to know the people, because people is the key. Different people have different chemical feelings, and then we believe, I believe that FACC and EHang, we have a very good feeling to match each other. From our competence, we can also give other sides a very strong support. And for EHang side, FACC should be or could be already is one of the most important partner for us, because we know exactly we are not from the aviation industry. We need a partner who have enough experience and who have a lot of aviation knowledge, expertise, all these kind of things to deploy all the ideas, all the project what we want. And I believe FACC is the right one. So make a summarization. We believe FACC with the right people, with the right competence, and we like them. So that's how we start.
Now there's obviously, as I said, it's been a dream of people for ages to fly in these convenient vehicles. But there is not just EHang. I mean, there's, especially in Germany, Lilium Aviation, you have Volocopter. There's a lot of also big companies in this field. What is EHang doing different? What is EHang doing better that you will decide this race, they will be the winner? What is the USP of EHang?
I think there's the different ideas from our company compared to the existed competitor. Why I believe for this market, there's not really a competition, because it's too early for all of us. It's just in the very beginning phases. And the second is for EHang, we developed not only one vehicle, we developed a whole ecosystem. It means EHang, we have the Falcon, we have the EHang 216, but we also have the command and control center. It means basically we have a one-hand solution. We are solution provider to all the partners and clients. This is one thing. The second one is I believe is the speed. What we already achieved and what we want to achieve in the future. What we already achieved is globally from the status now. What I can say is for the flight testing, for the technical development, for the certification and airworthiness processes, we are one of the leading company. I think we are the number one from the speed. And the third one is we expected that all the partners, also competitors, to go to this market with us together, because we believe we are a pioneer for this new industry. We also want to be a settler for this new industry. So technically, we have different advantage, disadvantage, because the positioning from the company and the positioning from the vehicle is different. For example, from the flying range, from the payload, from the way how I use it, we are the only company in the beginning focus on the autonomous flight. It means we don't have pilot, a real pilot. This is one of the biggest difference compare EHang to all other companies. And we know that in the beginning, if we full into the autonomous flight, for the certification and airworthiness, it will be very difficult. But we believe only this way is the right way for the future, for the long-term run.
Mr. Machtlinger, what was this is a new field for FACC. What was the rationale to go into this completely new field? And also, I mean, you one of the biggest businesses you do is as a supplier in the aerospace field. And I mean, there's Airbus who's also developing a flying taxi. Now you're starting to be a competitor to one of your biggest clients. How did you manage this, so to say, friction maybe? And was this maybe also something you thought about before you entered into this partnership?
Well, good questions. I would say, why did we enter? First of all, we believe in the market, and we looked into this kind of market even before we met EHang, Felix, and the EHang management team. Why do we believe in it? I think aerospace always developed from one stage to the other. And aerospace is a quite young industry. So if you look back, it's a little bit more than 100 years people are flying, but what has been accomplished over this 100 years is outstanding. And again, taking a look ahead, everything we have today, and I always get asked, okay, Robert, why are you entering this market? You have 6.5 billion order backlog. You deliver to Airbus and Boeing, to Embraer, Bombardier, Rolls-Royce, and Pratt & Whitney. So the who is who in aerospace is your customers. Why the hell are you going there? And I said, well, if I look ahead into 2030, 2035, I want to be a player in the industry as FACC. So we have to be open-minded and we have to be innovative. And here I think it's like a circle. What we have learned the last 30 years in aerospace industry, in developing lightweight, highly performant aerospace parts, we are right now can use on the EHang. With the EHang development, we're implementing new materials and new technologies, and we certainly can test those new materials and processes in an environment that is not that challenging that high-speed, let's say, business jets or commercial jets. So once we have maturity on this field of activity, we can further develop and also offer this kind of technology to our customers like Airbus and Boeing. So for us, I think three things. We believe in the market. This is a huge market. 30 billion is in front of us, which is not owned by anyone at the time being. And I think that's pretty much what you have said, Felix. It's not a competition who is leading or winning. The market is out, but it's not yet occupied by people. So the best will take more, and the fastest will enter first, and the not so fast will come in a little bit later. So innovation for us was very important as a third point, because we have to be innovative. Is it a competition to our other customers? I would call it no. Because we have a 30-year experience working with Airbus, with Boeing, with Embraer, Bombardier, and right now also Comac. And it's always learning from one program to the other. So if we do something, we're building up our competence and we can develop future technologies from one program to the other, which is benefiting all of our customers. And if we add another customer like EHang, the entire industry will benefit from it because we learn. So it's not competing with Airbus, who is doing a similar thing. We're not competing with Boeing, who is also working on a UAV. So it's more helping each other and providing our knowledge, which is not the electronics and not the ecosystem. We are simply the aerostructures provider, and here we have a good fit to all of them.
Now, the dominant topic of the past few weeks has always obviously been the pandemic that we're all in. In the aerospace sector, it's quite clear that there is a lot of damage, and that's obviously also maybe reducing your core business at FACC. But how has the coronavirus really impacted the project of EHang and the development of EHang? We see now that China is opening up quite fast again. But what were the challenges you had to solve while working on this big project?
Maybe I can start first, Felix, and I think you have a couple of other news that are very much related to China from this week. If we just look into our program, so we have produced the first fly-able product based on our engineering out of our production line at the end of last year. So we finished everything just before Corona pretty much approached China, and later on came into Europe and the rest of the world. And that certainly had a little bit of an influence on the test flights we wanted to do in China. That certainly had an influence on how we can bring people together face to face. But nevertheless, we never stopped. So we delivered our products to EHang. EHang did quite a lot of flight testing. Information was transferred backwards and forwards between China and Austria, and there was a very open dialogue on the outcome of the flight testing. I'm quite happy what the results are showing, and the second flight test unit is under preparation as well. And the good thing is Felix will come back to Austria after many weeks and months next week, and we have another dialogue on how to set the next steps. So nothing has stopped. We have progressed. That's good. Even with the authorities in Austria, we continued our dialogue how to achieve milestones. Having a flight test opportunity in Austria with the EHang. Also here we progressed quite a lot. And I'm very, very keen and very, very optimistic that the next couple of weeks we will deliver further milestones for the program, but also for Europe and our cooperation. So certainly a little bit of a slowdown, but we never stopped, and the results are quite promising.
And from my side, I believe that I'm 100% believe in this, that all the nations and we human, all the people, we will beat this kind of coronavirus. We will finally successfully beat it. I mean, we will find a way to live with it, or we can find a way to solve this pandemic. I never thought about it. And yes, in the last several months, we are also have negative impact by this coronavirus. Everything is slowed down, and also our factory our company was also shut down for several weeks. And now our company is reopening, and the whole country is reopening, and our old life, the life, come back again. And I believe through the whole industry, what do we start now? For example, to keep the social distancing, we need a personal air transportation, kind of PA way. And maybe this is also a time to start this kind of business, because the old way, what we're living, maybe through the pandemic, we need to rethinking about it and find a new way. What will be the right way for the aviation industry? What will be the right way for the traveling? All this kind of open question during our quarantine time, we can rethink about it. And so I think the even in this time, our cooperation with FACC is never stopped. The whole engineer team, the whole we now do a lot of brainstorming to prepare everything. If we can reopen the country, the board, what can we do? And this is also next week we will meet again. And this is also one of the most important things that for the business, you always meet with your partner, feeding with human feeding. And we just started restart the regular meeting and cooperation, and prepared for the next milestone. What we
see, yes.
I think Felix, you shall add one major milestone EHang achieved last week or this week in China.
Yes, sorry. This is one of the most important things, because we get the first globally the first commercial certification for operational for drone operational permits in China just the day before yesterday. Of course, in the first phase, it's only for the logistic purpose.
So brand news, so to say.
Yes.
It's also a nice bridge to the next question, because obviously we are talking about the technology, we're talking about strategic partnerships, we're talking where the technology is going, but the ultimate goal is, that people fly in these things, or goods are transported in these things. Do you think that as we see in other parts of the economy, that technology is going fast, but regulation is not able to keep pace? Will regulation be the biggest challenge to adoption in the future for these types of vehicles? Or is there something else that still needs to be solved that will be a bigger nut to crack, so to say?
Then I will take over first, then later, Robert, you can take over. Yes, the whole regulation will be one of the biggest obstacles for the whole industry. But what we believe is the EHang and all other companies in this industry we are working very strongly and to develop the new regulation, the new processes and the procedures for the airworthiness. And also in Europe with EASA, in China strongly with the CAAC. And in this part, because I can share our experience in China with with the Chinese CAAC, let's firstly, the whole nation, we believe in the innovation, we believe in this kind of new concept. It will solve a lot of existing problems in our history. And second one is I believe because the whole autonomous flight is a kind of tools, not only for cargos but also for humans. We can, with the mass production, with the safety first autonomous flight, because through this way, we believe that from the design, also from the testing, it has highest safety level, even better than helicopters. We believe through this way, we can bring the massive personal air transportation. And so the interactive between companies and authorizations will move forward to accelerate this whole industry. And so from what I knew, that even in Europe, the EASA will be ready to certify all this kind of vehicle in 2025. Maybe in China it's a little bit earlier, but I think there's hope, and there's brilliant hope what we can work, what we are working now, work it together.
If we look,
I only can add what you have said, Felix. I think the legal framework around the product, but also the integration to the airspace is the most challenging. I think technically there is the one or the other challenge in front of us. If it's the battery life or the cycle time or whatever we have on the agenda, but the real criticality, I think, and it's not criticality, but the long pull in the tent, as we call it, is the certification process. Nevertheless, I think we see a quite big movement all over, also in Europe, but also in US, that authorities more and more are taking an active role in adjusting, that more and more people are assigned to these tasks, and that we are moving ahead. So will it be solved within the next couple of weeks, a month? No, it will not be solved in the next couple of weeks, a month. But I think within the next 2 to 3 years, I think flying in certain areas is an opportunity. And I only can add our partnership, Felix, we have signed up last year with a large city in Austria, where we are very actively working on a test area inside a city. Maybe not flying with passengers in the first phase, but at least testing and connecting unique points from certain areas of the city. And I think the mayor of the city and our direct partner is very much keen to be the first city in Europe having that kind of services. So I think we need to keep pushing. I think we need to keep working on innovation and keeping our leading role. And then within a certain time, I think we will move people from A to B in a very safe environment.
And what I want to say is, sorry, my last two sentences. That means from our point of view, there's the two drivers. One is the technology driven. The technology is ready for the market use, to solve different problems. And the other one is the market driven. Because, for example, in the pandemic time, we already use drones to fight with the coronavirus. Because this is contactless, no contact, and also very quickly. And I believe with this both driven, and now a lot of local partner, like our partner in Austria and also in some other countries, the authorization, they are also have open-minded. And with these three driven, these three power together, I believe we will have the urban air mobility, this kind of concept, very quickly in reality, even in Europe.
Getting to the end of it and kind of concluding what could go on, I'm sure, for many hours, because it's such an interesting topic. Now we have this partnership, and EHang is starting to build its European base in Vienna and in Austria. What can we expect looking at Vienna, Austria? Will from EHang, will it become the center of this technology? What's your plan with the European base here?
I think from the whole in the discussion, and also the company intention and also interest, I believe in the future with FACC together, for Austria, we want maybe Austria will have very good chance to be the first country in Europe to realize the urban air mobility. And the second one is I believe that Austria have also a very good position for the whole value chain for the urban air mobility. To work with us, we work with FACC for the lighting constructions, for the carbon fibers, for the different sensorics, for the algorithm, for the AI driven autonomous flights, for all these kind of things. I believe that we are slowly setting up a whole new value chain based in Austria, not only in Austria, but for the whole Europe. This is what we are doing now. And I think, again, it's two driven. One is from us, we setting up the company here. We will in the future also work very closely with different companies in Austria or in the whole European Union, and we will develop the whole technique together. And I believe we will have a successful and brilliant future.
And I think to add one more point, we have set up a new entity. It's called Air Labs. Air Labs is a known company which is owned by. First of all, it was promoted by the government of Austria. It's owned by a university and industry partners, whereas FACC and Frequentis is one example, having a leading role in Air Labs. And Air Labs is pretty much a company in support of urban air mobility. It will be linked up with a test area 20 kilometers in length and 8 kilometers in width with infrastructure. So we have also set up quite significant test capability here in Austria, helping us on solving the issue on flight testing, but also the integration into the airspace. So I think we are really taking a lot of steps, important steps, to bring UAVs into the market and flight with passengers.
Thank you, Robert Machtlinger. Thank you, Felix Lee, for taking the time for explaining what's happening in this exciting field, and also the partnership. Thank you, everyone who was watching this newest episode of Greatest Business Minds. If you don't want to miss any of our episodes, click the subscribe button so you get everything that we're doing. Thank you, and good luck with the project. And we're excited to hear when all of us and myself will be in one of these vehicles. I can't wait for it to happen.
Klaus, thank you very much. Take care and talk to you soon.